Yes, I'm back. Let me get my other screen hooked up here again. I gotta get out and go back in. And I don't know what's going on, guys, because I just checked my my Wi-Fi is on 4 bars. I mean, it's like totally there. So I don't know what's causing the problem. So all the explanation you did on the sharpening, we got. So I'm sorry. Shit. Well, I'm sorry about that too, man. And I was looking. I didn't see it. I didn't see it on the comments. So I apologize. I'll go back through it again. But more importantly, can you hear me now? Okay. Can you guys hear me? Loud and clear. Okay. Now I'm just using the phone mic without my other mic on, and I'll try and speak loudly enough that you can hear me and all. So I've sanded this down to where it needs to be. You saw me fix the cracks. In fact, you can't even see where the cracks were that I had in here. I made them go basically away at this point. Now I was just about to put on my my finish. If I could find where I put it now. Let me look around here for a second. Before all the S hit the fan, so to speak. Ah, here we go. So let me give this another try. We'll put this finish on here. And while it's drying a little bit, I will go over some of the stuff I was talking about when you couldn't hear me, I guess. I'm sorry for this. I don't know why we lost the signal. I really don't. I have no clue from YouTube or from my provider, either one, because my Wi-Fi says I've got full bars. Of course, that's for upload. That's for download speed, not necessarily for upload speed. So they could be cranking down on my upload speed somehow. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to Comcast about their Xfinity about that and see what's going on, because it's frustrating me the last couple of days. It was doing fine for about 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden I started having this problem again, and I can't figure out why, because I'm using the exact same equipment, same setup, same things are shut off all over the house. I mean, I do not know. But now this first finish, it's gonna go on. It's gonna get a little bit muddy at first, but that's okay. It will brighten out as we get it in here and buff it up and so forth. But you'll get to see some of the colors anyway right now. Get in there. This will help stiffen that bark up a little bit. Let's get into this bark here. Okay. There's the bark. And now we start doing some of the color on this side. A little of this spreads a long ways. Probably easier to put it on here and brush it on. There we go. Well, there we are. I'm sorry to all the people that we lost there, and hopefully we can get some of them back. But the good news is this is a new video, so if you hit the like button, it counts it as a new like. So please, even if you hit the like button before, hit it again. This counts as a separate video in YouTube's universe. I wish I could combine them together and just have it rush out as one, but it doesn't do it that way, so I apologize on that. Here we go. So now you get an idea of the beautiful wood color that's in here. And this will make a really, really nice looking bowl, especially I think on the inside once we get in there. Now this does show, when you do this, it shows you all the little imperfections, like there's a little rough spot here that I need to get back done. And that's one of the reasons I do this, is to kind of see, okay, what's the final finish going to look like? And I can see some lines and some things. So I probably need to go back over this and shave it down a little bit. But for right now, that's good. Okay. While that's setting for just a minute, Michael, I'll kind of go back over some of the things that I tried to talk about, okay? Yeah, I know I passed 3,000 subs today, thank you. So, what I was talking about earlier, actually I've talked about a couple times today, so some of you may have seen this before, but I do my system like this. I have my one-way, or the Wolverine, or whatever you want to call it, system here. And the first thing I do is I put this on here. I put this in here like so. And this gives me an exact 2 inches extension from here to here. Exactly 2 inches every time. So when I come over to my grinder, I'm not going to move everything over again, but I have this and this. And these are my color charts. And this one happens to have a green tip paint on the back. Green is for 55 degrees. And it tells me that I set this at 2, which I did. And I set this particular thing at 2.3. Now, if you don't have this, and this is from Ron Brown, I think this is wrong, but there's other ones. If you don't have that, you can also use these Raptors. And there's some other makes out there too. But and it's set, this one's set for 60 degrees. I have this one set for 55 right now. If you were to put these up against each other, you'd see that they're slightly different in angle. Okay. So I set this up for 55. I make sure that my jig is all set up. Then I put this in here and I just grind it back and forth a couple times, and that's the finish that you get on it. So that hopefully that's basically the basics of what I do. Now, how did I get to the 55 degrees and all that? That's a whole separate little story. And everybody has their own methods of getting to those numbers, but that's the basics of how I do it. And I hope that that covers that for you a little bit more. I'm going to go back over this because I'm not happy with that styration. I'm seeing little lines in here in a couple places where it's got a tiny bit of chatter right here. I'm going to see if I can't remove that very lightly. And I think I'll use my negative rate scraper for that. So give me just a moment, and then we're going to turn this around and start making a bowl. So I don't want to spend all day on this. Okay, so here we go. I'm getting a little bit of see that bounce I'm getting? It should be nice and smooth. Okay, now I'm going to spin that up. I'm still getting just a little bit of a bounce. see. Let me see. Yeah, it's just a little bit off. Okay. Right in there. Okay. I just wanted to use that to kind of see. I think. I think I can use this skew to. A little bit bouncy. And that can translate over on the other side when we turn it around. I want to put it in a real run out there. And I just want to make sure that I really got this as good as I can. And yeah, there was just little slight high marks and low marks in there. Okay. That looks pretty good now. Okay, I can, looking at the top there, it looks pretty good. All right, so just gonna give this the once over with the sander just a little bit more. I know, bear with me, folks. I'm sorry, but I'm not a perfectionist, but I do want to have a good finish on the floor when we're done. And that's where that little knot was before. And by the way, this lightens up a little bit once you sand it down like this, just a little bit after putting that finish on. So that's what I was talking about. The colors start to pop out a little bit more. It's not as strong, dark as it was. And I'm not going to make you stay here and watch all of this. I'm going to turn this around so you can see the rest of the bowl turning, and I will finish this stuff up on my own time later. I just wanted to make sure that we are really smooth before we go on. Okay. Yep, that's already lightening up. And you'll see what I'm saying when I say it. When you sand this, the color starts to come out even more. You can start to see that it gets lighter. So as this dries and as I get more layers on there and more sanding on there, it will change a little bit more. But at the end, we will have a nice glowing kind of piece of wood. So now the big part. Now we get to turn this around. A nice big bowl here. And hi Chase. And hey Ryan, thanks for dropping in. Sorry I had to start it up again because we went down once, and hopefully we will stay up this time. And again, no understanding as to what happened. I have a good signal. I have actually a real strong signal, but that's the signal that you see on your phone is your Wi-Fi connection signal, and and it's usually addressed to your upload or to your download speed, not your upload speed. And of course, when you're doing a video, you're in your upload speed, which is much slower. They don't give you as much bandwidth for uploading as they do for downloading. So I have a feeling that this was not a YouTube issue. This was a Xfinity issue, but I can't swear to it. And I'm sure if I went to Xfinity and yelled at them, they would turn around and say it's not our fault, it's YouTube's fault. And everybody will point their fingers in a different direction. So it is what it is what it is. Okay? Okay. So, here we go. Let's mount this thing up. This is a big boy. It's pretty hefty. Fingers crossed we got a good miter connection here. Let's turn it slowly and see. It's pretty straight. Let me see if I can. A tiny, 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 tiny bit of wobble in there. And then sometimes that's just the wood is expanded just slightly. You saw where those cracks came from. Wood will move. That's actually worse. In fact, there's another crack forming right here. So, because you're releasing tension. And if you release tension, you get more of that. Oh, I also wanted to make sure that I had the, there we go. Wanted to make sure that I had those cracks in line with the base of the, thickest part of my chuck. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. This is the time to make sure you got your mount as good as you can. Because after this, you don't get a chance to change it again. I'll deal with this. I'll work with this. You know what? Because I was going to work on the outside of that a little bit more anyway. I'll start with the outside and then I'll just work my way in. So, I'm just going to give it a little quick straight. And we'll round this off. Okay. Now I can deal with it. Alright. Let's get this boy going here. See if I'm about right. Yeah, let's see. That might be. That might be. Let's see. There we are. And I think we got that rounded back out. And you can see some of the pretty colors we're going to start getting in this wood as we move along. So let me establish the outer edge here. Whoa. It's quite a string there. Let me get some of that in the craft. It's almost like when you're turning epoxy. It was nice ribbon. I'm going to turn myself a little bit. That's my fault. It's sort of like peeling an apple. You want to see how much of the apple can I peel without breaking off the piece. Well, I have to stop just because there's so much of it here. I'll go a little bit lighter here. Now we'll take the next load off here. This does have some similarities to a walnut. Any of you that are familiar with it, you can see how the curls are coming off the wood and so forth, and the texture of them. It does have a little bit of the same characteristics as walnut. But we grow both of those here in the valley, so I'm not completely surprised. The basic wood stock is similar. Okay. Come over here real quick. And the wonderful smell of the timbers, yes, yes. Well, thank you, Shane. Yeah, this is something that a lot of people used to learn in wood shop when they used to have wood shop, and unfortunately, a lot of schools have discontinued wood shop. Of course, they've also discontinued cursive writing, and I don't mean the kind of writing where you write dirty words. I'm talking about, script writing in schools. And I'm not quite sure. They say, well, it's not a necessary thing to learn now. And I'm thinking, well, okay, you don't write letters, but you know what? If you want to read a lot of old documents in their original script, you're going to need to know how to read script. And I mean, shoot, we were learning script in 3rd grade. It's not like it's really hard. It's probably more important than some of the things that they're teaching in school nowadays, but what do I know? You start thinking about how much harder is history class now than when you went to school. Think about it. Like, I went to school back in the 60s. So, on the history that we had, there were still people alive from the Civil War when I was a baby. And, which is a crazy thing to think about. But, I was alive when they started traveling to space. When, the first spaceships, and the Mercury and the Gemini and Apollo and all that. And we actually watched guys walk on the moon on the TV they brought into the classroom. Or at home, whichever. We watched a lot of the space launches and so forth. That was must-see TV back in the day. Now, you have to read about it in history, but so all those things that we learned about and did in our history is now added to what the kids need to learn as far as history goes in the classroom. So in my case, they got about 60 or 70 more years of history to learn than I had to. Just think about all the different wars around the world that have happened in the last 70 years. Or all the presidents and monarchs, kings and queens and so forth. A lot of crap has happened. I'm going to have to sharpen up here again pretty soon. I think I might just switch gouges just for fun. And I don't recommend that you do that. Once you start using a gouge and you're comfortable with it, keep using it because your hand gets used to it. It's like trying to switch bikes in the middle of a race. You know, and it's going to feel different. Or playing different guitars if you play or different instruments. It really kind of throws you off just a little bit until you get the feel for it. But I think I'll switch to I think I'll use the carbide for just a minute, just to see what that does. What do we got going here? Yeah, they don't teach cursive handwriting anymore. That's what I was saying. Yeah. It's really kind of weird, isn't it? Please hit the like button and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe too. We just hit 3,000 today, and we're trying to get to 4,000 or a little bit more before Christmas. That'd be a nice Christmas present. I don't know if I'll get to 5, but we can always hope, right? I want to get this trimmed up a little bit here. See, a carbide is a lot like a scraper. It's got a very small cutting edge, but then you're only cutting on anything, in a gouge or anything else, you're only using a rather small surface to cut with at any one point in time. This is what a carbide does. Now, let's take a big scraper. It's doing basically the same thing. It's cutting on a small edge of this massive blade. Now, Use them slightly differently. And you can see this can be pretty aggressive where I want it to be. Okay. Or we can go to a different scraper. And this one has a very pronounced edge to it. So you tell me, which is the best tool for grinding on a bowl? A carbide? Or a gouge? Or a scraper? I like this when I get down further into the bowl because it's good for sloping the sides. But, you know, if you're using the gouge, you come in here like so. Now, gouge can be a little bit more aggressive. And on some woods that's good. And on some woods this is bad. Because it can't catch. A gouge has much more chance of catching than a scraper does. So if this had a lot of cracks and so forth in it, I would not be using gouge at all because it's going to grab. And it's really loud. Okay, so let's just kind of see the wood where it's at. See if we got anything coming. I am not feeling anything. This is nice and solid wood in here so far. We have that crack here, but it hasn't materialized on the inside. That's good. It's holding. That's one of those that we put the glue in. And over here, this one's holding pretty good. There's a little bit of roughness right here on the top, but other than that, I'm not feeling it on the inside, so good. So we are in pretty good shape there. I can move this a little bit closer in, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, I may need to start switching to a different tool rest here in a minute. We'll see. What do you guys say? 5 p.m.? You're done? Okay, so right around 2, 3 o'clock our time, my time. I will be there, Mike. Thanks. Okay, how are we doing on... Okay. I want to get this bowl done here today. So assuming we don't lose our connection again, we should be able to get this bowl done in this little bit. Can be a little bit of an optical illusion at times, whether you are high in the center or high in the or not, as you come out. So you kind of have to stop sometimes and go, okay, so I know I'm high here. I got to get that down. So I need to be coming out to get that lined up because I'm not. Otherwise, you start sloping in. And I don't want to start sloping in yet. I want to be. Okay. And I was starting to get sloped in there a bit, so I need to make sure I'm coming back out here and keeping this smooth and keeping this in line as I go. Okay. I see a couple of scrapes here. It's still getting a little thick there. So I'm going to come in with my my scraper here and take down that side just a little bit before it gets out of hand. Whoa, didn't want to do that. Turned it a little too much. This snagged it a little, didn't do anything bad to it, so might need to use the carbide to get in there. It's outer edge one, see what's getting about a little over a third of the way through, maybe 40% through. Okay. But since we've done most of the stamping, this is not the most entertaining part, unless of course something flies off. So stay tuned for something flying off and going across the room at several hundred miles an hour, and I'm certainly always willing to watch for that. Yeah, I got to remove a little bit more of this. I have got so much wood shavings. I filled an entire trash can for it also. And under my feet, it's actually above my feet on the floor here. Here's some of what I'm grabbing. So I need to get some of that out of the way so we can make more. Alright, now we're getting a little rough here. That means there's a little cross grain action going in here or something. Not quite sure what that is, but we got to make sure we keep an eye on that. Okay. Could be just a little, oops, could be just a little bit of roughness. Let me see. Yeah, there's a little bit of coloring right in here now too, so I don't know if there's a little bit of softer wood right there or something. I don't know. We'll find out. But that's, again, that's why you want to continually stop and read your wood. I always use the term read your wood. There's a reason to read your wood. Woo! And also not to do something stupid like that. Never talk with your hands and a tool in it while this thing is spinning. And I should have known better. Didn't seem to be any damage. Okay. Hi, my wife's in the shop. My wife's out of the shop.
Transplanting my new succulents.
Oh, okay. She's going to plant her new succulents here. Since we share the shop, I had to give half my shop to my wife so she can do her crafts. And that's okay because she makes pretty good money on her crafts, selling them to people, and she enjoys doing it. And it keeps her hands busy, which is good for me. So I saw that crack. I hope you saw that too. Let's see if we can get underneath it. Oops. Okay, so yeah, that crack's mostly going away right there. We hopefully will get past it. My concern with cracks is that not only can they grab, but they can also widen. See, you've got some soft wood here again. It's almost like pith wood, but this isn't the pith, so I'm not sure. It just could have been a soft spot in the wood. In fact, see here, it's actually grinded out a little bit. You can see this. I don't know. Let me see if I can get you a little bit closer in there. And you can see that right there and along in here. So we have to be aware of it work past it. We are about halfway through. Got another crack right here. It's a pretty big one. And it comes up on the back side of the bark. So that's where I got to be careful now, because I'm going to have to slope in right about starting here, because we have this drop off where the bark is. And the bark's going to come through the wood, possibly a little bit. We got to be really careful with that. So I'm going to have to start sloping in just a little bit on the bottom of this bowl. We'll probably have to switch from the carbide to a scraper once we start doing it. Okay. So we got about 400 people in here right now. That's great. And if you were watching the first half of this video before it shut down, please go back and hit the like button again. It is amazing rain, isn't it? Hey, Jamie, take care. Hey, Big Dog, you're still with me here? Good. Big Dog, I want to see you turn something again. I haven't seen you turn anything in a while. In fact, Michael or Big Dog, I'm not sure who's in there, but if one of you could kind of list some of the people, they're in my description, but some of the guys that I work with on a regular basis, 77 Rockets, Mike at the Whacking Shack, Dave at Timber Designs, Chase at New Beginnings. If you could put, and of course Michael, yours, and Big Mac's yours too. And Robert G's starting to get started. Go check out these guys. Johnny's Lathes is another one. And I know I'm forgetting a few right now. Oh, Mike is making stuff. Mike is a character. That's all I'm gonna say. Mike makes stuff out of just about anything. I think the weirder it is, the more he has fun with it. Then we have LJ. LJ Woodworking. We have Bearded Viking. Another one. So there's a lot of good guys out there that are doing woodworking. Oh, I'm sorry, Boondock Builds. Yeah, Boondock Builds with Jamie. Jamie just put out a whole bunch of nice little videos on some Halloween decorations, and then he put out another one on Christmas decorations. So he'd be a good one to check out too for doing some yard art and so forth. Jamie's a lot of fun. He has a good sense of humor. At least I think it's a good sense of humor, or that maybe he's just crazy. I'm not sure which. Sometimes those two things can be confusing. Yeah, we're getting down to the good part now. Now I got this slope just a little bit. See how we're doing. Boy, that crack is really getting big. I think I'm going to want to fill that in a little bit just before we go any further. Just It's not going to stop me from turning. I just want to fill that in now. And then we'll do some work over the top of it, but I do not like the way that looks. That is a big, That is a big crack. And structurally, I don't want it to become an issue down the road. Now this is pretty dry pear wood after about a year or so since I took it down. But you never know. It can still be subject to stress even at this point. Okay. Oh, here we go. I like the fine stuff. Actually, I like the lighter stuff, but we'll put this in here. We'll do this for now. There we go. Now, that doesn't make it go away or anything. It just kind of fills in the gap a little bit. And there. It will look better soon. You know what? I'm going to change rests here, simply because I think this other tool rest will give me a little better angle on things. Come on. This one's a real tight fit. Yeah. There we go. Maybe this one? No. No. I think maybe this will let me get in there a little bit better. On that. That's right about right. This gives me a little bit more of a closer, but I probably need to raise it up just a little bit. There we go. I think that brings me in line a little better. Okay. Now when that's spinning, the mask I'm wearing has the battery that's dying on it real quick, so let me switch out batteries. We don't have that annoying beep sound going on. That just drives me nuts. It also gives me a chance to see just how dirty the filter is in here on this mask. If you haven't tried the Trend mask, it is a really good mask. It's expensive, don't get me wrong. It is an expensive mask, but it really does its job. There we go. And I can continue. Always good to have a backup, battery ready to go. See if we can curve this now using this one. There's that crack again. I'm going to need to put a little bit more glue in there, I think. Apparently that's deeper than I even thought. Because you keep cutting down to it. No, it's possible we might cut past it. That's always a possibility. It may disappear. So you don't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? So I'm just gonna fill it up a little bit more. Put a little bit more of this sawdust on it. The fine stuff's what works, not the curls. The curls don't really do much of anything for it. There we go. Yeah, like magic, right? So let me try going back with this one. I need to raise this up just a little bit. It's just a little too low. I hate that when I'm trying to bring it up and it falls down on me. Yeah, about there, I think. Let's see if that's a better fit for this. A little high now, but I hate this. Trying to find that perfect spot. Of course, with each tool, you need they have different thicknesses, so they're going to be in slightly different positions. And that's still too close. Is that getting any lower on that crack, or is that crack getting bigger? Well, we might get underneath that crack. Can you still do that? That's good. That's good to see. Okay. I can hear the chatter of it. If you listen real closely, you'll hear differences in the wood as you turn. So I just need to lower this just a little bit more. I'm just not happy with that position. That's a little better. There we go. nice sloping curve in that we were talking about earlier. See how I'm doing on it. I gotta take a little bit off right there because it's a little thick. Coming in, yeah, we still got the crack. Well, I'm just gonna have to deal with that. Got some beautiful wood here. This is gonna be a pretty bowl when we get it done. It's gonna take a little time. And then we're going to start gauging the bottom. Okay, so this is, let's see, we are about, I'm going to do the old thumb check here, right? We are about here. So we are getting near the bottom of the miter, so probably just a couple more scrapes to smooth that out, and I'm not going to be able to go much further than that. Let's see how we're doing. Pretty nice and flat there. A little thick here, but I had to make it for this. So I think I can maybe come in a little. I gotta fix that again though. So I can't leave that like that. It's just not gonna look nice. So let me do one final turn like this. I want to curve up the sides, but I don't want it to be. I want to have as much volume, area, and size as I can. Otherwise, it doesn't match the outside. I'm just going to fill that up one more time. This time I think I'm going to put a little CA glue in there first. Just to make sure this isn't going to grow anymore. I'll hit that with a little shot. Then I'm going to go back over it with the wood glue. You guys are sticking with me, I appreciate it. Again, if you'd hit that like button, I'd appreciate it also. Hopefully, I've been able to teach a few things this morning. Some of you guys have gotten something out of it. I know I've learned a few things this morning, just watching myself. Like, don't trust your microphone and don't trust your Wi-Fi. Two things. Well, the Wi-Fi went out, the connection went off, the microphones all of a sudden weren't working. It's a lot of things to deal with when you're just trying to make a bowl. So I'm going to let that sit in there just a second. Let me get a little more of this out of the way. Jesus, just by the handfuls. And a handful more. I could stuff some pillows with that. There's going to be a lot of vacuuming when I'm done here, that's for sure. Boy, look at my arms even. They're full of stuff. Okay. So we're going to have a chance to settle in just a little bit. I'm going to make one more pass. And then we should be ready to rock and roll with the sanding and finish. Oh, I didn't like how it flowed. Kind of like it to be one continuous motion all the way. That's still going to show, and that's okay. And I may need to fill it in some more later, but I think that's going to at least... I'm getting a little crack on the outside here too. Well, it is really starting to show some stress cracks. It's going to be interesting to deal with, but that's okay. That's what we are here for the fun part. Okay, I'm going to switch out my sander here. Oh, there's 90 grit, okay. Got my 80 grit. I got some big pieces parts I want to get smoothed down first before we go any further. Okay. So, those of you that have been watching, I do appreciate if you've been watching for a while here, because I know this has been a long video. I'm going to go on this outside first. Kind of smooth it out a little. And And it's taking it back down. So that when you look at finish on it, does raise the grain sometimes a little bit. You want to make sure the grain is not coming up, because it makes it feel awkward, like it hasn't been sanded properly. And you can kind of sand between coats of some of your finishes anyway. Just with like a really high grit, like 1,000 grit something, or 2,000 grit, whatever you got. Just to kind of knock off any little fibers that are raised up because they got wet. And the way that I can keep this little bowl together is with all the little cracks that's starting to form in there. It should be a nice bowl that'll go for a pretty good price when we're done. Yep, there's some of that color coming back. Anyway, I think I got the outside of the bowl looking a little bit better. And if you recall, we only had a very small miter on that, holding this thing on that whole time. That little 1/8 or so depth miter held this on through the whole turning. And hopefully it holds on through the whole sanding as well. You know, I'm gonna turn this on. Pardon my sound here. Oh yeah, that's looking nice already, isn't it? Even where I had the crack, it's filling in just a little bit with that. Okay. Go to the 120. Go quickly on the outside. And this will sometimes looks better with a gloss finish on it, or a black finish. I'm not sure which one to use. Yep. But I do like this little imperfection pieces that are showing up in the middle. This is really adding the look. After this routine when I'm And having these with the little side pieces to it really helps when you're coming up around the curve, because you actually keep sanding as you go there. There's no gap and it doesn't bite into it. Okay. Now we're going to do the third one, and this will be the last one. Oops. Oh. We'll do this one. More of a polishing piece here. Oh yeah. Alright guys, we're going down the home stretch. Still with me? Oh, that feels really nice. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So let's put a little magic finish on here, and then we will stand back and look at it for a minute. In fact, just to make some of you happy, because I know some of you like to see this, we'll do this first. We'll do a little burnishing. We'll do burnishing on the outside too. There. One burnish finish. Okay? Now we'll put a little bit of oil on here, just to see if we can make this shine just a little bit, make it glow just a little bit more. What about this? What do you think of this, guys? Now you see the colors start to come out. And that's just the first coat. And it does show some little imperfections in the sanding, even though it felt smooth. See there? There's a little bit of rough spot. So again, that's why you want to put this kind of pre-finished finish on here first, so you can see the errors, go back and fix them before you're done with the bowl. I'll go ahead and do another coat on the outside here too, since I'm doing it. I'll get into the bark again. Now this sucks into the wood pretty quickly. If you notice, it's not just standing on the top. It soaks right in. So the wood is getting nourished. I can take this off. I'm sorry. Now you can hear my voice a little better. So this is soaking into the wood. So that means the wood's getting nourished a little bit more. It will start to it'll start to accept this. I'm making sure it goes in any of those cracks too. So we'll fill in the cracks a little bit with this tung oil, and that will also strengthen them and usually prevents them from going further, although not 100%, but generally speaking. Pour some in there. It might even come out on the outside or on the inside. I don't know. You might see that coming through. I don't know. Let's see. Get some more of this bark on here again. You always want to cover the bark really good because first of all, it makes the bark really sparkle. But second of all, it keeps that bark from wanting to break off later as your bowl settles in to being a bowl. And of course, this is going to be the wet look that it has right now. When it dries, it lightens up a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to kind of go back and forth like this now around the whole thing, just to make sure I got everything. Like so. Man, the end grain has already soaked all that up. Side grain, not quite so much, but the end grain is really soaking up that wood. This is where the pith was originally, like right here. You can see the core was right about here where my finger is. So we cut this just off of the core. And you want to avoid the pit in most of your turnings, not always. But in most of your turnings, you want to avoid the core because everything will radiate out from there and crack. So, oh, there's another telemarketer calling. I don't know about you, but I'm getting calls from telemarketers about every half hour lately as we get near the Medicare deadline here in the United States. They all want you to sign up with them. And joke's on them because I've been signed up for a long time and not with any of them. They're just wasting their time, and I like to waste their time. Sometimes I'll answer, and I'll just put the phone down and just let it lay there. And that ties up their phone lines. What do you guys do when you get spam calls or telemarketers? What do you do to deal with them? I've gotten whistles, blown whistles at them, but I've heard that's not something you're supposed to do anymore. I've answered the phone sometimes and said, well, I'm glad you're on because I'm recording everything you say, and that usually gets them to hang up right away. I'd say, well, please call back so I can record you again. I'll be sending this off to the Federal Trade Commission or the FCC. Sometimes that gets their attention. What do you guys do? Rag on, rag off. Yeah, well, I'm painting it on first because I want to make sure I get into every one of the little crevices. And I want to sit here, with tung oil, you want it to sit on. And until it's not sucking it in anymore, and then you can wipe it off. This actually absorbed everything that I put on here. There's really nothing to wipe off. It's really enjoying what I'm putting on it. Now the inside, maybe it's getting a little more full, but not the outside. It seems to be wanting more. And what's funny is, as smooth as this felt when I was sanding it, you now see all these rough spots. So, like I said, I'm going to go back into this later on, and I will sand these a little bit more, take out the rough spots. But what do you think of this color here? I'm going to get you in a little closer so you can kind of see like that. Look at that. That's some of the color that's in there. But you also see the rough part I was talking about right here. So I want to sand that as smooth as I can. So I'll get back in there with the sandpaper and smooth that out. This crack seems to be stabilizing. I may or may not do anything with that. I don't know yet. Obviously, I glued my finger. The outer edge is pretty good. And the outside of the bowl looks pretty good. I'll take this off of here so you can kind of take a peek. Obviously, it's going to need some cleaning up here. That is all that was holding this on. That. Okay? You don't need a deep miter to hold this on. You just need to make sure it's a good hold and it's well made. Okay? And this was well made. I love this coloring in here on the back side. And it comes through on this side too. There's a little slants in here, which is nice. But I see a few lines. So like I said, I'm going to go back and do some more finishing, sanding on this. Make it a little bit better. But I think you see the basics of this bowl. It's going to be a pretty nice bowl when we're all finished with it. And I hope you learned a little bit while you're watching, or at least enjoyed the viewing. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. Now, could I have gone deeper? Let me see. And maybe I still can. Let's put the calipers on it and see how close I got. Let's see. If I put it in the center there and bring it down here. Hard to do and hold it into the camera range at the same time. Oh yeah, I can still go deeper. Oh shoot, yeah. Really, I can still go another ½ inch probably. That's great. That means I can go deeper. Maybe I can get underneath this. So I will probably work on that some more. And I'll either make a video of it or I'll bring you back to show you what I'm doing at another time. I don't want to do it right now because I think we've been on long enough. But there's our bowl. I could do a colored CA glue like a black or a red, but I don't want to take away from it. I want it to kind of disappear if I can. You make them cry. Yeah. So, okay, guys. Well, hey, I really appreciate you all sticking around. For some of you, we will be having our Stardust gang will be having a live this afternoon. I'm guessing that's 5 o'clock in Ohio, so I'm guessing it's probably about 3 o'clock out here in California, and I'm not sure where it is where you guys are going to be. But you know, if you get a chance, drop in to our live. I believe Mike, the Whacking Shack, and 77 Rockets will be putting it on. And if you haven't checked out their channels, please do so. Check out all the channels. And Michael, I'm going to assume that you or Big Dog put everybody's channel names up there. If not, they're also in my, most of them are in my description for these videos. I'll be going back in and adjusting these videos since there's 2 of them. But I do appreciate you all being here. Wow, 263 people right now still with us. That's great. I really do appreciate it. And and I should say, for next we normally do a live on Thursday. That's our regularly scheduled live. And I'm still kind of debating, but I think we might do this unusual piece because it's curved. So how do we turn it when it's curved, and what do we do with the bark, because it's going to be going all over the place, and it's also pinched in the middle here. So it's got some interesting things with it. Most likely I will put a holder in the top. We'll make a tenon in here, and we'll turn this from the top down. So this will be a live edged bowl. But I'm not sure what it's going to look like, because it's going to be interesting to deal with these curves and cuts and inclusions where it comes like this. You know, that's all going to be kind of interesting on the inside to see what it does. This is cork oak. So I think we might be doing this one on Thursday. But if you have any requests, certainly put them in. I still got a couple beautiful pieces of cypress to turn here too. And I got a lot of other wood also. I got some walnut I got to get turning. But I just thought I would do this one today. And thank you all for being here. Appreciate it a lot. Thanks for all the likes. It looks like, if I'm reading this right, it says like 238 likes. That's great. I do appreciate it. So go back and look at the first one if you haven't. The first half of this video, because there was 2 videos. The first one got cut off for some reason. And it was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys are all here. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm already tired. I've been up since, like with Ryan says, I've already been up for 6 hours, and it's time to go have some breakfast. So you guys all have a great day, and we will talk to you soon.